Hi, teacher friends. Did you ever have a few minutes in your day where you just weren't sure what the children should be doing? There's that transition time or a few minutes of time that for me it was in the morning time. When they came, they signed, they washed their hands, they unpacked, washed their hands, signed in, and then there was about 10 minutes, depending on when they came to school, that just, was this time I just didn't know what to do with, and I didn't want to clean up the centers for them to have free choice. So I would set various items on the table, and then they could play with items on the table. These are items that are the coolest thing, and I usually find them in the dollar spot at, although it's now up to $5 spot, in Target. It's just so much fun. I would always put my items in a bag with this zipper so that they would use their pincer grasps to open and close it. And then they would play with whatever the item is inside, these little stacky things. Good for hand-eye coordination, fine motor, counting, various things. They only really stack up, but I mean, you can stack them in different areas or different ways. These I don't typically have on the shelf because they're little itty bitty and I want to have supervision with them, but these are items I just bring out for morning work only, okay? Idea here. These little itty bitty cheap Legos that are big, we usually play with the Duplo ones, but these are kind of smaller and different things can build with those. These Jenga, the dollar store Jenga games with the wooden blocks, it's just such a smaller version and it's just different than the normal Jenga. And there's no telling what they would do with this. Sometimes they'd build a fence for animals. Sometimes they would build a tower, various things. This right here. You seen these like at the Cracker Barrel? Well, my kids would get them for Christmas from Grandma and Grandpa. So what fits perfectly into these are golf tees, right? So they would have to put their golf tee in. And then I had pom-poms for them to balance, fine motor again, and hand-eye coordination to balance the pom-pom. These do better if it's on the table or the floor. But then they would balance that on top of the golf tee. Pretty cool, huh? And when they're done, they put it away and put it away. These right here are so fun. Oh my goodness, I just have so much fun with these. And now if my kids wanted to play with these during the day, I would absolutely bring them out. But they didn't generally go in my normal everyday toys. But you can build cubes with them. You can build all kinds of things. Those things, I found these at Hobby Lobby. A cube with a hole. So they stack them on there and you just put it out there. These are open-ended. The kids can do whatever they want to do with these and various things, and you're sitting there just watching them explore and discover. And sometimes they would stack all the cubes on one, and they just had various things that they would do with these. Again, not in my normal everyday play, but morning time activities. I wanted to share this because this is so much fun. This is a cut in half thing for your knee when you garden in the dollar store. I cut it in half. So it was this size. Fits very nicely in a bag, in a gallon size bag. What do I do with this? It's spongy, it's like cushy for your knee when you garden. I don't garden. But for children, what I would do is these right here, these giant pins from the office supply store. Then I had these spongy shapes, and I would also take this and run it down my driveway and rough it up. It's not sharp. It's sharp because it's pointy, but it's in there pretty far. It's not cutting my finger, but I would dull it just a little bit. And then when they were done, they would put it in these foam shapes and it would store like that. But what I would do is they put this on the floor, and then they would take this, and then I would have my piece of paper with dots for them to trace. So they would take this and then they would trace and then poke it. These are called pokers, I think. I don't know, but they're out there on the internet. Or you can just print off on your Google Docs with your print, your normal print you want to choose, and then they poke the holes. When they're done, they can look up at the light and then they can see through their paper. I always brought this out too when I talked about the moon and planets and stars, and they would just poke random I would just give them a piece of paper like this, and they would poke random things in it, like stars, the galaxy, and then they'd put it up to the light, and then they could see it like at night with the stars. But then I would also have, once we did that, I would also have 1, 2, 3s. I would have numbers and letters. This one looks like an H that somebody did. I bet Haley did this. You can do shapes, squares, triangles, whatever you want to do. You can trace it on there, and then they use their little pin, and then they poke it through. I believe it works on carpet too. It doesn't hurt the carpet, but I do use this. That when they're done, they put everything in the bag. They can take theirs, put it in their mailbox to take it home as their morning work. If you don't like this idea, I found these at the dollar store. Aren't they adorable? They're little pine cones, and they're toothpicks. Toothpicks work. They will break. Be aware. Children will break them, just to see, but be aware. But it will go through this as well. Pokes through there. You know, during the year, I found these. These are little food picks, spiders, strawberries. I mean, how fun is that? I feel like I did. Oh, you can also use what I just showed you, which was our golf tees. Golf tees work great too. See, it's pointy, and it's not any more or less sharp than that pin that I roughed up on my driveway. And those poke through too. Okay? So fun, just a fun idea. These are things I would put around the tables for the children to have open-ended play with. Maybe they make their own design with a piece of paper. But however they wanted to play with it, it was their choice. And then I would just be there to facilitate and guide if they have needed any help or questions.